guys, welcome to church. It's me, Blue Steel, in case you forgot my name. I have a lot of superpowers, and I don't want to brag about myself or anything, but I am pretty awesome. And right now I'm just, using my supersonic binoculars. You too can make these out of toilet paper tubes and some tape, but they're definitely not going to work like mine. I can see through walls. I can see into people's minds. In fact, I was looking at some of the people here at the church. I was looking into their minds, and I saw that all Pastor Logan was thinking about during his meeting is how many cheeseburgers he was going to eat for lunch. Man, oh man, you never know what to expect with people. Anyways, welcome to church. I'm so glad you're here with me today. We are in our series of unlikely heroes. And as you can see, we've got a lot of stuff here on the table that we need to sort through, and I need your help. But before we get started, I have a secret to tell you, and maybe you've already guessed it. You're all VIPs, meaning you have value, identity, and purpose in Jesus. So no matter where you are, if you're eating Cheez-Its in your bed, if you are sitting in your room, if you're downstairs and you're fighting your brother or sister for the last gummy snack, whatever you're doing, just know that God values you. He cares about you. You matter to Him. If you're moving, if you're staying, if you are quiet, if you are really talkative, God knows who you are. He knows you by name. And in fact, He knows how many hairs are on your head. Isn't that crazy? My hair stylist always tells me I have a lot of hair. There's no way I could count all of this. Do you guys ever do this? Make yourself look like you have a mustache? Or this? If you guys have never made a beard with your hair before, you're missing out. Anyways, I can't even count the hairs on my head and they're my hairs, let alone someone else counting the hairs on my head. And I have hairs fall out like all the time throughout the day when I brush or when I get home. They're always falling out. But so God constantly knows the hairs on my head. Surely He cares about what I'm worried about. He cares about the issues on my heart. He cares about my family. He cares about coronavirus. He cares about it all because He values us. We're His kids. When we accept Jesus into our heart, we are part of His family. And there's nothing that could separate us from that love. Not, the depths of the ocean, not some crazy virus, not all the wrong that we do. Nothing can separate us from His love. And that is part of why He is so good. And lastly, He has a plan and a purpose for your life. I know a lot of you have had to go back to digital learning, and I'm sorry. I know that's tough. It's hard. And you just want to be with your friends. But I just want to remind you, hold on, be patient. God has a plan and a purpose. And you're probably learning stuff right now that you couldn't learn any other way, like how to be patient or how to trust in God. Those are all good lessons that you can learn now, even while you can't be with your friends. Okay, so far in our Unlikely Heroes series, we've learned about Joshua. He was able to face hard things. He saw giants in the promised land, but he chose to be brave. And he chose to say, hey, no, with God, we can do it. We can defeat the enemy. Last week, we talked about Esther, our girl superhero. Woo woo! If you're a girl in the house, give me a little whoop whoop. Whoop whoop! Come on, do it. Ready? Whoop whoop! So Esther, she was amazing. She had courage. Even in the face of danger and even death, she chose to do the right thing. Remember, heroes do the right thing just like Esther did. And today we're talking about a guy, just an ordinary guy in the Bible who became famous because he saw an opportunity to do something great. So come along with me. We are going to learn about a character named Nehemiah. So you may be asking, Lucy, what are all these bricks here for? That's a good question. Nehemiah, he was actually kind of like a slave. So Israel got defeated and they're in a different country. They were taken away as slaves. And Nehemiah was a cup bearer. Can you say that? Cup bearer. And his job was to test all the king's drinks to make sure there wasn't poison in them. And so that way it was safe for the king to drink. Man, that sounds like a pretty crazy job, right? I mean, if there was poison in the drink and Nehemiah tasted it, he could have died. But that was his job. So he wasn't a king or a priest or a prophet or some, famous, strong Israelite guy. He was a guy who tested the king's juice to make sure there was no poison in it. He was the cupbearer. And it kind of was a cool job. It was technically a place of honor, even though it was very dangerous. So Nehemiah was kind of like a slave, and he heard about Israel, the country that he came from, and he heard that the walls that were protecting the city were all torn down. And this made him super sad because the people who were left in Israel, they had no way to defend themselves. See, back then, you had to have walls stacked up so that way enemies couldn't come through and just take everything in the city. They'd have to go through a gate, and that's where your army would be. So the walls were completely torn down. And Nehemiah felt so bad. And in fact, he's like, man, I need to do something. But the king's not going to let me leave. I'm kind of like his slave. So he prayed to God, and he said, God, listen, I need help. I want to go and help rebuild the walls of Israel to make sure that the people that are left there are safe and sound. And I'm really scared to ask permission from the king. I don't know what he's going to say. So God gave him courage and bravery, just like Esther and Joshua. He went and asked the king, and the king said, yes, he could go. He could go and help rebuild the walls. So when he got back to Israel, he realized, man, it's a lot worse over here than I thought. There's holes everywhere. This is going to be so much hard work. But he saw an opportunity to help the nation of Israel. And so he said, you know what? No matter how long this takes, we can build this back up brick by brick. So he got all the families together who were still there, which wasn't very many. And he said, listen, let's focus on the gates first, make sure those are up, and then each family, you work on a portion of the wall. So he kind of made up this plan, and he started having people build. So we're going to start building stuff. And the people gathered all their tools to see how they could help each other. They gathered all the resources, and brick by brick, they started to reconstruct the wall so that way Israel could be safe. And it took a long time. I mean, it took 52 days with everybody in the whole nation of Israel working on this. And eventually, they were able to finish it and complete it so that Israel was safe again. So as you guys can see, what we made today, heroes see the opportunity. Nehemiah was able to keep the people of Israel safe by coming up with this plan to help rebuild the wall. Everyone chipped in. Everyone stood guard. Even their enemies laughed at them. They thought that there's no way these people could rebuild this wall. But with Nehemiah's plan, it worked. And after they finished rebuilding the wall, everyone praised God for protecting them and for Nehemiah's great plan. See, he saw the opportunity to do something great. He probably didn't even know how to rebuild walls, honestly. But he said, you know what? I'm going to try. I can do anything brick by brick. So I encourage you guys today, wherever you are, self-proclaimed hero or not, look for opportunities to serve people. Look for opportunities to make someone's life better, even if it's in the smallest way. Even if you're like, man, I can only stack one brick, that's still going to make a difference, because you, my friend, can make a difference just like Nehemiah did. So, what is the point of today? Well, there's 3 main points. One is heroes see the opportunity. Heroes aren't just out for themselves. They're out for the good of other people. You wouldn't be a hero if you just wanted to make yourself famous. You're a hero when you help other people. And part of helping other people is seeing the opportunity of how you can help them. See, Nehemiah wasn't a king. He wasn't a priest. He wasn't famous at all. But he saw a problem and he wanted to help in whatever way he could. So brick by brick, he built the wall back. Just like this huge wall I'm walking in front of right now that goes on for a long, long time. It wasn't an easy project. It took a lot of hard work. But Nehemiah said, hey, this is an opportunity where I can make a difference, and so I'm going to try. The book of Philippians talks about don't do anything out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Don't just take an interest in what you want to do. Look out for other people's interests too. And that's what Nehemiah did. He was looking for an opportunity to serve other people. Because he cared about other people, he saw the opportunity to help. Okay, point number 2 is even though we're just one person, we can still make a big impact. I wanted to tell you guys a story about this little boy who, after the hurricane in Haiti, saw a little boy crying in a bunch of rubble. And he thought to himself, man, when I'm scared, when I'm lonely, what helps me is my teddy bear. And so he ended up starting a drive at his school, and then the TV station and the radio station caught a hold of it too. He ended up getting 50,000 teddy bears to send over to Haiti to comfort kids who are lonely, who may have lost a parent or their home. And it was just the one thing he could do. One person made such a big impact. And I think that's such a cool story because it's a kid just like you who saw an opportunity to do something for someone else. You know, he didn't rebuild the whole country, or he didn't solve the problem of hunger and thirst, but he did what he thought would help him, which is get a teddy bear. He was able to give it to so many kids. And lastly, point number 3, we can't do everything, but we all can do something. You know, we might not be able to end coronavirus by ourselves. I mean, if we could, it would have happened already. Or we might not be able to fix things that are broken in our country or sometimes even our family. There is always something we can do, like encouraging someone who's lonely or sad or upset. There's small ways we can help out our moms and our dads, our grandparents. We could write cards to people who maybe can't get out of their house right now. We can't do everything, but we can do something. So I encourage you this week to look for an opportunity. Put on your little glasses like me, or make some binoculars out of toilet paper tubes. Whatever it is, look for an opportunity to be a hero. And again, it's not so you can become famous, it's so God can become famous. Woo! Look at this big wall. I walked all the way down. All right, I hope you guys have a great week. Love you. Mwah. And I'll see you next time. Bye.